We back, baby. We are back. Okay, the last time we tried to do this, someone who I don't even want to talk about today, just he signed with the team. Then we had to talk about that the whole time. It was cool. It was cool. You're right. He loves having us talk about him. So there we did talk about him again. But I'm definitely not trying to talk about him now. The only team, the only players that I'm trying to speak about are the players for the New York Jets. All right. We are the New York Jets. We're built for this shit, baby. And we're going to talk about the players who have the most pressure. They are under the most pressure. And they say pressure makes diamonds. So let's see. Right after this intro, it's Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! There you go! Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby. Boy Green. It's Wudi.
Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi. You already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. I do not see him to my left or my right, but I swear, right before we did see the boy who became king. He is doing something in the shadows. I'm not sure what's going on. It just looked like I was looking through blinders to see him. We're peeping in on Mr. Boy Green Paul Esden Jr. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, that was anticlimactic. All of a sudden, I'm like, the intro, I'm jamming to it. Boy Green Beach Woody. And then all of a sudden it cuts out. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, headphones? Did something happen? And I just saw me go, boo. And I'm like, so I guess I got to keep an eye on that one. But yes, Woody, it's great to be here. It's great to be back. It's great to see you in full video box form. You know, we had to call an audible at the line of scrimmage last week. We had to do what we had to do. And now we're back in full flower, baby. So thanks, everybody, for pivoting with us last week. Appreciate it.
Yes, it was honestly, it was a lot of fun. Still getting the band back together. You know, definitely wasn't a fun pre-show, but having the show and seeing you guys lock in to the live, still asking questions, still engaging with us, you know, talking in the comments, a lot of activity. So it was real cool. You know, it was like and I said it that last time. It's like when the power goes out and you start appreciating that deck of cards a little bit more, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And for me personally, my power's been out actually all day. So thank you to the folks at Duke Energy playing games with my heart. But hey, you know, we were able to still make it on time. Still got the hair curly, you know. What I'm talking about. All right, so we out here doing our thing. Doing our thing as Boy Green meets Wudi.
Well, I just have to say this, Woody. I'm glad that, you know, we're this far into our relationship and I could still turn your light on. Boom! There you go. Beautiful.
Yes. Well, actually, I want to say something. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it. If we are going to talk about it, then you know, you can just let me know and we will adjust. But there's been some waves made in the Jets world for the thicker kicker, which is definitely not something that I'm gonna say more times than probably just the ones that I said it.
I see. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to call him by his name. But yes, that is a signing that has made some waves. We already had a couple of kickers on the roster, but they want to get this position right. So I like it. You know, you like I just said, you want to get this position right, not just limited to the people that you had. I know they already signed the undrafted kicker. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Caden Davis.
Caden Davis, there it is. There it is. Yes. But yeah, why not? Why not add this guy? 5 of 6 from 50-yarders. All right. Very accurate. You already know New York makes stars out of people like that, with nicknames like that. So it could be a match made in heaven. As long as he can do job number one. And I trust this regime to focus on that first and foremost is job number one, which is kicking the football.
Yes, the Jets made that signing. That is, again, Harrison Mevis. I love
Mevis.
Revis. Now we got Mevis Island. I don't even know if that's how it's pronounced. I have not finished my story on it yet. But I've got sources in the UFL. So every time the Jets dip their toes into UFL waters, I text my friends over in the UFL because I'm like, they're going to know better than me. Here's what he had to say about Mevis, thicker kicker. Apparently, and that's because of his weight, which I'll give you in a second is the updated weight I got here. It's from my UFL source. Really strong kicker, huge leg, 5 of 6, as you said, Wudi, at the beginning, on kicks from 50 plus. His only miss was 63 yards out. And it just goes to show you that if he was attempting 63 yards, he thought he was going to make it. So that's sort of fascinating there. He says he's very accurate. He called them the most ready NFL kicker, the most NFL-ready kicker in the league of UFL that's coming over here. And that's how he felt about him. He is also one of the best in the new kickoff format that the NFL has now, should be incredibly reliable from that standpoint. The last updated weight that my source had with Mevis was he's 5'11", 242, which would make him the heaviest kicker in the NFL. And he's... This is a direct quote. Because I just, thicker kicker, I would assume it's a weight thing was the only reason he had this nickname. I said, that's it, right? And he gave me the weight and then he went, he's a thick boy. And I'm like, thank you for that specific quote with the laughing, crying emoji that this guy texted me. So there you go. So there's the latest. That's literally, I got the text moments before the show because I was writing the story. So you guys hear that before I even put it in the column that I'm going to be writing. But again, you want to get the kicker right. The thing I will be curious about is the Jets had a full 91-man roster. Remember, they have the exemption for Leander Wiegand of Germany. So what's the corresponding roster move? Are they dumping one of these other kickers for Mevis? Are they going to another position to cut the spot from? I'll be sort of curious what their plan is, which that normally comes in about an hour, maybe before the show. We'll see how long the show is. But normally around 4 o'clock, we get transaction news. So it'll be sort of curious to see if that move ends up becoming official today or if it goes to the transaction wire tomorrow. And if that's true, who's getting dumped? That'll be interesting to watch.
Definitely very interesting to watch the roster gymnastics every time, right? Just like you said, someone for every action, there's a reaction, right? So we brought someone in, someone has to go out. And I am curious, hopefully, just my personal opinion. I hope it's not a kicker. Let's get that 3-headed competition going, a triple threat match, if you will.
Yeah.
All right.
My God.
And let's see the best man win. It's simple as that. That's all you need. Somebody who can kick the football, reliably, accurately, and from far distances. It's a huge, huge aspect of this game. And we saw firsthand, how it when you don't have it, what happens. But if you remember just the year before that, you should remember a situation where that was winning us games. The kicking was winning us games. Our kicker had more points than any quarterback that played that season.
Wow.
That's
impossible.
It was that embarrassing. Horrifically embarrassing. And let's get a kicker who is capable of doing that, but won't have to.
Yes, that's I love what you did there. So as you mentioned at the beginning, Wudi, we're giving this a discount double check. See what I did there? Giving it a second look, but also a reference to why we couldn't do this the first time around. So thank you very much as I pat myself on the back. I'm normally on the injury report with a limp wrist from patting myself on the back so hard. But with that being said, Woody, we'll go through our 5. We'll go 5, 5, 4, 4 all the way down the list. So any mulligans, because you got a little bit into your list last time. So any changes you potentially want to make or will make, feel free, obviously, to contribute those in. And some people will be watching the show for the first time. So I'm going to pretend like I've never given any part of this list before, and I will just start off on the top. So let's go through our top 5. Again, the top 5 players, as me and Woody debate here, who are under the most pressure heading into 2025. So without further ado,
number 5.
I'm putting we'll go 5 to 1. I'm putting Justin Fields here. In a lot of lists like this, he could be even higher for some people. I think it's just sort of obvious. I want to talk about other names more importantly. We're going to talk a lot about Justin Fields. It's not that I'm annoyed or done talking about Justin Fields. I just know that's going to be a popular name on lists like this and also in our comment section, which is fine. Obviously, there's a lot of inherent pressure on him trying to prove that he's the guy. He's clearly the guy, at least for this season. But what happens in 2026? So Justin Fields under a ton of pressure to be the guy. This might be his last chance to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. If he performs poorly this time, he may be on his 4th team in 4 years next year. And so, Justin, it's all on you, young buck. JF7, who, by the way, I picked up the jersey yesterday, Woody. It arrived. I got a Justin Fields stealth black jersey. Could be the jersey I wear week 5. And officially, my fantasy football team name has been submitted to the overlords, and I have one name, and all my leagues have it. Dr. Fields Good will be my fantasy team name for this season. So Justin Fields jersey secured, fantasy football team name secured.
Congrats. That's very nice. Hopefully you get more use out of it than the Rodgers jersey that you bought in stealth black as well. Okay. We did talk about this I think we talked about this and then the news dropped. Yes. Something like that. Where I actually do not see, and I have good vision. Okay, trust me. I've talked to my optometrist. I just don't see the pressure. There's no one, I guess, like on the roster who I would say has the support, top to bottom that Field has right now. The whole organization's rooting for him, rolled out the red carpet. They think he can be the guy. So, I think he's in a very good, this is probably the most an organization has been invested in him since his sophomore year, just to top to bottom. So, with that being said, I don't see it all on him. You actually just said those words. Those were the last words you said was, it's all on you, JF7. And I don't think that's true. I think, coaching is going to be specific, specific for him. The offensive line, we're all expecting it to be way better than it has been recently. That's going to help. Garrett Wilson's going to help. The running game is going to help. I think, I know we specifically are probably on 2 completely different pages on the defense, but the defense is supposed to help. So I think he's getting a lot of, all he has to do is just, not let go of all the different people holding the ropes on the other side, and he'll look pretty good.
Did you just make a Titanic reference? Like bring Jack, don't let go of Jack? Yeah. Did you just work that in there?
I wasn't really thinking Titanic, but wow. Because there's no specific rope scene. But hey, anytime you want to talk Titanic, your boy is down. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow. Did Woody just say, paint me like one of your little French girls? Wow. Okay. Let me get out the canvas.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, Fields, he has a lot of good things going for him. And I would say I would be shocked, just absolutely floored if he was not a Jet next year. Like, things would have to go horrifically wrong. Which I don't think they will. I think they're, like Boy Green always references, my fear is that, now we're just sentencing our lives to mediocrity. We're just average or, slightly below maybe 1 year slightly above a little bit of hope, but no, just average for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, that's just my response. I know I said it that time, but now that this episode's fully dedicated to this list, nothing else is happening. No one, all right, forget about the outside world. This is us right here, unless something happens. Justin Fields. That's how I feel about him. Number 5 on Boy Green's list. Let's start with number 5 on mine.
Number 5.
This is somebody who I've mentioned pretty consistently when we talk about this word, and it's Tony Adams. You know, he is a new coach, new regime, absolutely no ties to him, right? Signed Andre Cisco, and here we go. It's time for him to prove that he is worth, a starter. This was somebody who we thought was pretty much a starting safety for the, I don't want to say foreseeable future, because who knows how far you can see, but definitely, this year, next year, and all that type of stuff. But new regime. Now he's got to prove himself. They, got the drafted, right? They drafted Malachi Moore. So there's definitely some situations at play. They could always play around with somebody else and move guys up and down the roster. So this is somebody who needs to show up each and every day in order to even earn a spot. And then, of course, during the season, needs to play well in order to have a future. So we talking about the present and potential future of his career. Tony Adams, number 5 on the James Wudi list.
You heard it from Wudi. Cheeks are on the line. And I agree for old TA. There's a world where he could be starting week 1. Shoot, there's a world where Malachi Moore takes that job from him and runs, and he's just that third rotational safety. So he's going to be on the roster this year. Wudi said, I would be shell-shocked. I would be appalled. I would be, all these things if Justin Fields not on the roster next year. I would be all of those things if TA isn't on the roster this year. That would surprise me. If all of a sudden he gets dumped ahead of final 53-man roster cuts, that would surprise me. So I think he is at least a reserve role. But to your point, Wudi, if he doesn't get a starting job this year, he might just disappear into the dark abyss next year if we circle around. So good call out there for TA making the top 5. A lot of T's there. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 on my list, and this may be controversial. I'm just going to come out and say it. Brandon Stephens, Mr. $36 million man, I'm putting here at number 4 on the list. Zach Rosenblatt did his mandatory minicamp stock up, stock down. We did a show about that and talked about a lot of them, last week, recapping minicamp. And one of the players that were stocked down is Brandon Stephens. And one of the stock-up players is Azareye'h Thomas, who obviously is not on this list. And, again, I provided the additional context saying, folks, Brandon Stephens is going up against Garrett Wilson every day, and A.Z. Thomas is going against Xavier Gibson. So, keep that in mind with stock up, stock down. To me, I would be floored, because that just seems to be the theme of the show. I would be floored if this happened. I would be shocked if this happened. I'd be surprised if this happened. Brandon Stephens is starting week 1, barring a catastrophic injury. But is he starting week 8, week 9, week 10? That I don't know. So borrowed time might be there for old BS. And no, I'm not calling out BS. It just happens to be his initials. Brandon, blame your parents. The fact of the matter is that Brandon Stephens is the starter for now, but Azareye'h Thomas is breathing down his neck. He's coming for jobs. He's coming for purses. He's coming for everything he's trying to steal. So, Brandon Stephens, clutch your pearls, good sir, because you're the guy for now. But if you want to remain the guy, you got to live up to your potential. And really, it's less of a indictment on Brandon Stephens and more of an indictment on the coaching staff, who they believe that Brandon Stephens, they can coach up. I think we'd all agree that DJ Reed is a better player straight up right now than Brandon Stephens. But DJ Reed, I'll start with him. I talked about this on an earlier show this week. He's 5'9", 190 pounds. He's gotten the most out of what he is. Brandon Stevens has not gotten the most out of what he is. It's up to the Jets coaching staff and him. Both of them have to seize it together to see if they can unlock a new level. If they can, the Jets won. They paid $9 million less in guarantees to Brandon Stevens than the Lions did to DJ Reed. You win those battles, you're a better team overall.
This is a very interesting choice, actually, Boy Green, and I think I've gone on record, and if I haven't, allow me to put on the record in Sharpie that I was not a fan of this Brandon Stevens signing. I did not think he was good enough for the dollars that he earned. The Ravens, it's never a good sign when you sign somebody and the team that he was signed from is rejoicing. Thank God this man has nothing to do with my organization. And that's exactly what every fan, media member, everyone in Baltimore, the whole city of Baltimore, the whole state of Maryland was rejoicing when Brandon Stevens was no longer part of the franchise. So for me, that's an immediate red flag, right? He struggled guarding wide receiver twos. And yeah, I guess, inherently there is going to be pressure especially when you draft such a stud like a Zaire Thomas, who's breathing down your neck, So I would say, he's going to have to put up or shut up. And it's not about being a negative Nancy, Holmes. It's just the truth, right? That is the case with Brandon Stevens. Fans, they hated him so much. He was so bad as a CB2, getting burned by wide receiver twos, time again. That now they're happy that he's gone, and we were acting like we got a steal or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see about the coaching staff. If the coaching staff can coach him up. That also seems unlikely, given that the Ravens have a long-tenured, very highly respected coaching staff that very consistently develops great players on both sides of the ball, and they weren't able to do it. But yeah, maybe the Jets can do it as well. So that is that. And again, Azaria Thomas, I'm a big fan of him. So ain't nothing negative I can say about him. He seems like somebody who couldn't be locked down and somebody whose stock should be rising. So as I always say, not about positivity or negativity. It's about realism. So you can call me Realistic Randy, if you will. Mr. Boy Green, the boy who became invisible, according to J Boy.
Yeah.
Hit me with number 4.
Okay, real quick, I just have to tell you I'm taking a phone call in the middle of the show. It's like, you see that in the movies where you're in a situation like an airplane and someone picks up the phone and they're like, no, I can talk. And then you're like, dude, no, you can't. You're on a plane, man. But the New York Jets just called. So there you go. There's going to be a new update. It won't be by the end of the show because we've got a show to do, but there's going to be an update very shortly after the show. I've got exciting news to share, so more on that coming up. So when I see New York Jets across the phone, I'm like, zooey mama. So we will have that coming up. So wonderful, wonderful news. I will, Wudi, you're going to get the exclusive scoop off air of exactly what that phone call just was. So more on that in just a second. But let's get your number 4 in there, Wudi. Hit
number 4.
We always getting scoops during this. We're never gonna get this list out with all the different scoops that happen. But this is one that I said before the last time. Joe Tippmann, our boy Tip. Everybody's rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I want him to be the center of the present, future, past. Right? He was already played. But they brought in somebody for a reason. This player has starting experience in the playoffs, and to our knowledge so far has not messed up any snaps, which is something that Joe Tippmann had done several times last year, and at least once this year. So again, that's one of those new coaching staff type deals, and hoping to survive, right? Impress a new boss, right? We're all hoping he can do it, but it's just a matter of actually doing it. And they got a guy, and that I guess that's the toughest part, right? How you did your little breathing for Azariah Thomas on Brand Stevens' neck, like that, that's a rookie who's still got a lot to prove. This is somebody who started, year in, year out for one of the more successful organizations in the history of the NFL. So in terms of breath, I would say that Myers' breath is even hotter on his neck.
I believe this off the top of my head. So I believe Josh Myers is the second most experienced offensive lineman the Jets have on their roster. There's a chance he's third. Number one is Chukwuma Okorafor. He's played more games than anybody. And then 2 and 3 is sort of a battle between John Simpson and Josh Myers. I don't have their numbers in front of me, but I'd imagine it's a little close. I would lean Josh Myers. So there's just a lot of experience there. And again, going back to that Zach Rosenblatt thing, again, I'm not at mini camp. I hope to eventually be, and we're doing these Boy Green Meets Woody's, and I come right off the practice field. I'm able to spill some guts of things I saw. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. Maybe in due time. But Zach Rosenblatt in his piece said, stock up Josh Myers, stock down Joe Tippmann. Again, we're in minicamp, but there's been some whispers in OTAs. There's been some whispers. Maybe they're setting us up for what is going to happen. And again, I am a Tippmann guy. I'm rooting for Tippmann. I hope Tippmann's a guy. But boy, there has been a lot of red flags that would suggest maybe there is a surprise in the mist. There is an upset to come, and maybe that is what's going to come there. So interesting name for the list there, Woodster.
Number 3.
Hit him with a 3. Step back. Ooh. 3. Now, Tyrese Halliburton wasn't doing that this week. Now, was he?
Something we can finally agree on.
What are we doing, Hallie? You bastard.
What the hell?
Zoinks! But no, number 3 on this list. Woody, you were right that we need to put a safety on this list, but no, not Tony Adams. Andre Cisco. He's number 3 on my list, baby. He's on a 1-year deal. By nature, those are prove-it deals. This is a guy who I think is much better than the 1-year deal he signed. It's funny how narratives happen in football. It's sort of, I talked about this with Sauce the other day. Sauce's first 2 years are first-team All-Pro years, but he can't be paid after year 1 or year 2. That's just how the CBA works. His third year is not an All-Pro year. All like, Sauce. But if he would have had that year 1 and had the 2 All-Pros back-to-back, he'd be highest paid corner, unquestioned. Here we are. When you have these years, that's how the narratives change. We go to Cisco. He's had a lot of nice years in the NFL. This last year was his worst year. He's a free agent. He has to sign a 1-year deal to, quote-unquote, prove himself. And I'm telling you, Jet fans, this is going to be one of the biggest steals of free agency. I joined the Jake Asman show. And Jake told me, hey, what's one free agent you could have if you'd want him? And everyone says all the Justin Fields or this name or this name or this name, pre-free agency. I said Andre Cisco. And I know a lot of people didn't know who the hell that was. This is a guy covered in college. I've interviewed Andre Cisco one-on-one. I know Andre Cisco. He is exactly what the doctor ordered for this Jets defense. He is going to kill it this year, and he's going to get a bag from somebody. I hope it's the Jets, and I hope he's here for a long time because I love Andre Cisco. But he's under, obviously, a tremendous amount of pressure to prove that last year was just a blip on the radar, and he's really a young, talented football player who's going to be in the league for a long time. If he has a second consecutive poor season, well, all of a sudden the 1-year deal for $8.5 to $10 million is going to shrink down to like a 1-year $3, $4, $5 million deal, and he's fighting for roster spots. So that's obviously not the case this year. He's obviously making the team, but the pressure of getting back into that upper echelon at the safety position is all on the line for Ocho Cisco.
That's pretty good. Like you said, I think one of the best lines you said was inherently a 1-year deal. There's pressure, because you don't know where you're getting your check next year. So I would have to wholeheartedly agree with that. What he has going in his favor is he's playing for the regime that chose him, right? This regime went out there, went into the market and chose him. And B, the competition isn't very established, you know.
True.
So he could be the big dog. He could be the big dog. And that's what I'm expecting. So that's why he probably is a little bit lower on my list, but he no doubt has pressure. And we hope, we talk about, pressure can create diamonds. I think this is someone who we will be talking about as a diamond in, years to come.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go diamond in the rough on me. I was going to be like, oh, I see what you did. Hey, now.
Number 3.
You actually just said his name. And, I think there is pressure. This might seem like, oh, like, what do you mean? Like, what is the pressure? But I think you kind of already said my piece for me in the fact that, you have, you're only as good as you are today. Johnny come lately. What have you done for me lately? All that type of stuff, right? You have two literally historic accomplishment that only one other person in the history of the NFL has done. And then a year that is not on that level, not a bad year, literally not a bad year by any metric. But now the fan base is coming for his head. I'm clearly talking about my boy Ahmad, that you may know as Sauce Gardner. This is a big year. This is a regime that didn't pick him, right? I think he's been the beneficiary of a lot of things, such as the fact that his defensive line was creating pressure with just 4 guys in the pass rush. That is a huge help for the DBs back there to be able, because they're not out there for as long as the average CB, right? Because our guys are getting to the quarterback, and you have the help of that additional, linebacker in coverage. So I think it's going to be a different year for him. Obviously, AG is working with him, right? He's a superstar. They're trying to get that contract situation pointed out. I do another show on Fridays, and I'm not trying to plug that show, but
what's that show called though?
It's called the Pop Off on Pop Sports Network. With some guys, and it's a Philadelphia fan, Toronto fan, and myself and a Jets fan. But anyway, the reason why I bring it up is because they help bring a national perspective to what we are so focused on in Jets land. And one of the things that they said was like, oh, like Ice Spice, the relationship and all that type of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't really think that's that big of a deal, right? Like, could it be? Could it not be? I mean, I guess we ultimately don't know. But what I will say is that chatter is chatter, and people chatter about stupid shit like that. So there is a lot of pressure on Sauce to get back to the lockdown, type rep that he used to have, right? Get back to that all-pro contention level. Because if he has another year like last year, which again wasn't even a bad year, Brandon Stevens has that year, and he's worth the contract we gave him, But this is Sauce Gardner. So he has a year like that again, and now everyone who's coming at me right now is going to be like, oh, we got to get rid of Sauce. Because that's all I heard from like week 8 on. Oh, yeah, trade Sauce. So he just needs to step back up, get back to the plate, and get back to, the great level that we all know he's capable of doing.
I respect that. And also, I will just say, I was like, how often you get a chance to quote Zoolander on this show? I was like, am I taking crazy pills? When everyone was saying, I'm going to trade Sauce Gardner, is what it is. I'm like, what do you mean we have to? What are you talking about? I'm like, in what world do we just have? Like, we're just sort of accepting it. Well, sorry, guys. He has to go. He was the number 4 overall pick. 2 first-team All-Pros. What? Why? Why does he have to go? That's the thing I just didn't understand. And Ice Spice, there you go. Sauce Gardner's love interest.
Thank you for just in case we didn't know. Just in case we didn't know. Yes, this is Ice Spice. Rico, I mean, hey, I know you said it's not like he's dating Taylor Swift. But like that, I mean, it's still right. Somebody who's very busy, has a very, very, very busy schedule. That he is trying to align his very with, right? So that is a tough. That's a tough thing to juggle, especially when, you have feelings. You're trying to, figure out that part of life, but you're also trying to lock in and focus on this new scheme, this new plan, this new philosophy from AG. So there is a lot there. Whether it's Taylor Swift, even if he had a new girlfriend that's not famous, right? Like that's still a deal. But the fact that she is famous, not Taylor Swift famous, she has a schedule, a very packed schedule, and they're going to try to make it work.
Hey, Sauce, respect, brother, respect. That's all I'm gonna say. Amen. Amen.
All right, boy. Green had to log off real quick. We don't know why. We have no idea what he did in his time off with Ice Spice still on the screen. But he just had to do his thing, and then he's back.
Let me wait. Let me just get a quick sip.
Yeah. Cool down, brother. Cool down. Woo.
Okay. Wow. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, appreciate you. Okay. Oh my. Get back to Zen. Get back to Zen. Okay. We gotta get back. Hit him with
Number 2.
Hit him with it. Hit him with it. Hit him with it. Hey, no, okay. Let's get back to business here. Let's get back to business. I'm distracted. Let me get that off my screen. It's not even.
Boy Green can't even finish this list, and you try to tell me that Sauce is gonna have a great the distraction. I'm telling you, the distraction is there.
It's true. How can Sauce be the number one corner in PFF with all that going on? God bless. Anywho, let's get to it. All right, here we go. It's time.
Number 2.
And you may just say, Paul, you just played number 2. Why play it twice? Well, I had to play it twice because the name is too nice not to say twice. I'm going with the double dipper here at number 2. There's a tie for 2. So I know we're supposed to have a top 5. I apparently got a top 6. These two players are equally pressured. Equally. Okay. John Simpson and Elijah Vera-Tucker, both entering contract years. And my question to the if we had more time, I'd put it up as a poll. Do you keep John Simpson? Do you keep ABT? Do you keep both? Do you keep neither? What the hell is the future here of the interior of the Jets offensive line? That to me is fascinating. Again, John Simpson's a little bit older. ABT has had a longer track record history of injury issues. John Simpson's coming off a really good year. ABT sort of brought himself back together. I love the offensive line. I think me and Woody have both been talking about it. I've been talking about it a lot. That the reason why I'm so optimistic about this upcoming Jet season is the floor that this offensive line provides. If it's as good as I think it will be, Justin Fields should have time to throw. If it's as good as I think it should be, all kinds of running backs should be making plays all over the place. So I think that's the key to the success of the 2025 season. I think both of these players are under tremendous pressure to perform. And quite frankly, the Jets are under pressure to decide who the hell are we pay, or is it possible to pay everybody? The Eagles pay everybody? Can the Jets pay everybody? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would say there's more pressure on Simpson because he is older, not a first round draft pick. It's kind of like Mike White in a sense, where Mike White had those really good games, but in the end, it was like he's still a 6th round pick. Like he still just outperformed his his stock, and he's just Mike White. Like that type of thing where draft order unfortunately does make a difference. I don't think AVT has ever descended to the depth that John Simpson has ascended from.
Interesting.
So, if he does, have a decent year. I mean, he can go somewhere else. He's going to be great. Like, I feel like AVT is in a great position. And for my money, AVT is the best lineman on the team. So
wow.
I want to. I'm trying to keep him. I don't know if that deserved a wow. That's something that I personally have said for the last couple of years now.
Like highest ceiling or best right now in 2025?
Ooh, I would say. I was gonna say both. I was gonna very quickly say both. Best right now, yes. Best right now, yes. Highest ceiling, Olu, we got some guys.
Fresh out of the package.
Yeah. We got some guys. So highest ceiling. Good. I can't say that. Last year, I guess we still have the same guy. So but the year before that, give me both.
Okay. I do want to say this before we move on to the next one, right? Because J-Boy keeps saying, Paul, that's cheating. You're an idiot, right? Like picking these players in last year, there's deals that's cheating. I want to clarify that if I just pick 5 players on this list that all just happen to be in their contract years, and that's the only reason, I would agree. I think that's cheating. In this particular case, John Simpson had a good year coming off of getting tossed around, right? He was with the Raiders. Nothing happened there. He went with the Ravens. There was a little blip. He wasn't great, phenomenal, obviously, or he would have gotten a bigger deal. But he had some intrigue, and the Jets jumped on top, and now he had this really good year. Was last year a blip? I think that's other parts of the pressure. That's not just the one-year status. Go to AVT. We mentioned all the injury issues. That is it. More than just a contract year. That's true. That's a front-facing reason to be on this list, of course. And there are players on my list. Obviously, they're in the last year. There's deals. But to me, it's much more than that. There's not just players that just happen to be in the one-year deal. Because, let me think. Who's a good example? Garrett Wilson. If he was a free agent after this year, and he had all the great years that he had before, it wouldn't be under pressure because he's in the last year of his deal. There'd be more reasons beyond that would stem from it. So I push back against you, J-Boy. Back up in your lane, J-Boy.
One other thing I'll say.
Sure, yeah.
And this was something that I made it a point to reference. I actually made a graphic and put it all over social media. Is that Aaron Glenn? Right, he says things, right? A lot of times, he's speaking generally, but when he mentions people by name, it's worth noting, right? And he specifically said there are some winners, on the team already, and he named guys. And Elijah Vera Tucker was one of those guys that he named. That those are winning players. He didn't name John Simpson, I'm tell you that, but he named Elijah Vera Tucker. So I would definitely say, with all the reasons I said before, more pressures on Simpson than AVT. But for AVT specifically, if we're talking about pressure, come on, man, just stay healthy. And I'm very certain, you're getting that deal with the
By
Jets.
the way, real quick, we got 200 plus people in the room watching on my side of things, not including all of Wudi's numbers he additionally has. But if you are watching on YouTube, like the video, hit subscribe, either my YouTube, Boy Green's YouTube channel, or Take Flight Talk, talking all things New York Jets. Wudi, of course, streams this episode as well as every Boy Green Meets Wudi episode, plus additional content beyond that. So, guys, make sure you check it out. Again, like the video, hit subscribe, spread the gospel of all things Boy Green Daily and Boy Green Meets Wudi here. I'll also give a shout out here. Now that we're in this big ass break of time between mini camp and training camp starting, we're going to be putting out some other cool content, both on Take Flight Talk and this channel. For instance, I'm catching up. People forgot that I had Jericho Cotchery during the NFL draft. I've been putting some more Cotchery clips. I'm like, now's a better time than any for some nostalgia action. He referenced and recapped and reminisced about some of his Darrelle Revis battles in practice. I just put that short up. So there's a lot of that kind of content coming out too. So I hope you guys can enjoy that. So again, please show your support. The James Wudi on the Instagram and Take Flight Talk. Speaking of talking, Wudi, I think it's time for you to take a big, fat, juicy...
Number 2.
I can't do that because we're on the show, Paul. But
there you go.
I will go to number 2. It's very fitting that you shouted out, the 200 plus people in the room. We got some additional people on Take Flight Talk. We have some additional people at the James Wudi on Instagram. One of those people is my boy Calvin, who I've spoken with a couple times. We had few conversations last summer. I haven't seen you in a bit, so welcome, Calvin. And the reason why I'm just calling him Calvin as opposed to his last name is because that would tip off. That'll tip you guys on my number 2, Malachi Corley, because his name is Calvin Corley. All right, welcome to the squad. So this is what I'll say about this.
Sure.
We drafted Malachi to be the Yak King. It's very simple.
Sure.
Very simple. I think everybody this time last year was very excited about him on the team. And we didn't see him. The one time we did see him, Boy Green still gets mad about it. Right? He didn't apologize enough. Damn, come on. He only said sorry with 2 R's. Come on now. Give me 4 R's. Give me 5 R's. But the fact of the matter is, this is a player, a talented player who I want to see. And now, still it's the same wide receiver coach, but new regime, new offense. They're trying to find ways to get people open in space, and that, they say, is his calling card. How can they get this to happen? If it doesn't happen, if he falls short, because there's been a lot of hype on Arian Smith, right? There's been a lot of hype. Unfortunately, Corley himself actually got injured, right? So he hasn't been able to be, full speed ahead. But Arian Smith, they're talking about Josh Reynolds. Alan Lazard is still out there, doing his thing. All right. If Malachi cannot keep up, I do not like what the future holds. It's as simple as that. He needs to find a way. They need to find a way to get him out there producing. This is a huge deal. Everybody that we're talking about, for the most part, they'll be somewhere next year, right? And they'll be fine. This is a real, a crossroads where, we've seen what happens. Denzel Mims, my guy, you talking about UFL. He's, so I just want him to bounce back and be the guy that, we were all excited about this time last year. And I think the pressure on him is tremendous.
He's in the YouTube thumbnail. We're all rooting for him. I want, again, you mentioned it at the safety position, that there's not a lot of obstacles. It's not like there's the 2 starters are former first round picks and geez, how am I going to overcome this? There's a lot of opportunity in the wide receiver room. And if Malachi seizes the day himself doing what he knows how to do, and the fact that there doesn't seem to be a lot of obstacles between him and wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, that combo platter could be wonderful, especially in this kind of offense with Justin Fields. I'd imagine there's a lot of trickery, a lot of innovation that could happen here with Corley. I think Corley and this Jets offense in particular are an even better match than what they were with the Aaron Rodgers stuff last year. I think he fits in like a puzzle piece into this. But your best ability is availability. And Corley, you got 6 weeks, pal. Get healthy, please. I have no idea what you're going through. It's been undisclosed this entire time. We're not going to get more information on that, if that's still a thing, until preseason. And even then, they could still be a little bit cagey on injuries. I'm rooting for the young man. I hope he turns it around. There's opportunity here. And there'd be nothing more than that would bring me a greater smile, greater joy than Corley catching touchdown passes, running in touchdown passes, throwing touchdown passes, whatever the hell he's going to do with the Jets.
Preach.
Let's go. Now it's time for
number 1.
And first off, I want to give a number 1 prediction that J-Boy is going to call this cheating again. That's my prediction. But you know what? I have one thing and one thing only to say, and I prepared a statement to say to J-Boy. Fuck you. I'm going to put whoever I want on this list.
Hey, J-Boy, you already know. There's nothing but love.
I want to put whoever the hell I want on this list. Thanks for all the support, but fuck you, pal. I'm putting this guy on the list. And if you go back and watch the Wudi intro, Boy Green meets Wudi. Boom. And that dap slap, Wudi's wearing the number 1 jersey because it's the number 1 guy on this list. Breece gosh darn Hall is the player under the most pressure. Queen wrote a song. All these people that wrote under pressure songs. Several songs out there in the universe. For Breece Hall being under pressure. Yes, last year he killed. That's cheating. Okay, but it's true. He's under pressure. Plus, this coaching staff, right? You talk about Andre Cisco. He was handpicked. Okay, he was adapted by this new parents. They're like, oh, Andre Cisco. You want to know what Brees Hall is? He's leftovers in the fridge. You moved into a new apartment. You're like, someone left some leftovers in here. They didn't clean up after themselves. What the hell is this? That's Brees Hall. But he's got to prove that you like open up the leftovers. You're like, let me give this a whiff and see if this is any. Oh, okay. Maybe I misjudged. Maybe these leftovers are better than I thought. Hit them in the microwave. Hit it with that 2-minute popcorn button. Beep boop pop. And maybe Brees Hall is going to be a special, pleasant surprise coming out of your old refrigerator, baby. So the pressure's on like Donkey Kong. The contract here obviously feeds into it. But to be honest with you, it's about him proving himself to this new coaching staff. And AG is putting the pressure on. He's like, hey, what do you think about Brees Hall? As we're doing hey, by the way, Woody, let me just tell you a quick story, right? So I was just with father over the weekend, Father's Day weekend. And my father referenced a moment from Boy Green Meets Woody while we were together, right? We're only together for such a short period of time. One of the things he wanted to bring up was my highlighter interview of like asking a fake question in the highlighter and then like giving it to the camera. He said, that's like one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And he thought it was so stupid, in fact, that he brought it up to me and said, you're an idiot. Moron is specifically what he said. But anyhow, I was just about to do it again for Brees Hall here. Is that he is under tremendous amount of pressure. Every time Brees Hall's brought up Darren Glenn, he's like, yeah, we got a lot of guys in the room. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Hey, what do you think Brees Hall's going to do? Yeah, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Hey, we had Curtis Martin once in Jets franchise history. He just starts naming names. So, Brees, you're not on top of mind. So you need to make it on top of mind. And I'll tell you this. I love how Brees Hall handled his press conference because he was given one of those bait questions. He was asked, hey, Brees, it sounds like they're going to be doing a running back by committee. Your thoughts? Because you've always been the guy before, and it's set up for all kind of landmines in that question. Depending on where Brees stepped, could have caused a whole load of headlines. He said, I'm not obligated to nothing. I got to prove myself. And he gave the perfect politically correct answer. Brees Hall can run for office. He gave the right answers, but the pressure's on him to perform and make some things happen.
As you know, I wore the jersey, right? So I've been outed, for all of you guys that, try to say, negative this. Like I said, it's never about negativity or positivity. It's about realism. Okay. So I would like to hear you guys find some negativity out of what I'm about to say about Brees Hall. Because I think Brees Hall's ceiling is sky high. Sky
high. Give you more specific?
Out of this world.
More specific? What does that mean as it pertains to NFL terms?
As it pertains to among the best in the game.
Oh, okay. That's a bit more specific. All right.
Yeah. I think what he's been able to do as a catcher, his burst, what we saw the first 2 years and at some point last year, but really more those first 2 years of what he was able to do with just a whole. I mean, he had some electric runs, in both Broncos games before last year. The Packers, I want to say in 2022, he had a nice catch and run on a wheel route against the Dolphins. I mean, against the Giants, he had a nice 50-yard catch and run. I mean, what he can do when the ball's in his hands, those first 2 years is electric. Last year, unfortunately, what he was doing with the ball in his hands is fumbling a little bit. He had a couple drop passes. But again, I think, the sky is the limit. It might not even be the limit. Like I said, he might not even have a limit. So if you hit that number one.
Oh, sorry. I just had a brain lapse there.
I heard what you said. Talking about Ice Spice. I
played the fifth.
Number one.
All right. It's Brees Hall. It's my guy, Brees Hall. All right. This is somebody who we could be talking about. Look at this. Look at this. My guy, Meadowland Swamp Thing. All right. I think he can be the Black McCaffrey. Like, that's not me joking around. That's not me, trying to be funny. Even though Boy Green is laughing, I'm not sure. But that's literally what I think. We got Black McCaffrey right here.
That could be a fantasy football team name.
Could it? I'm not sure, but yeah, like no, like in all seriousness, that is my guy. That's why I bought the jersey. I don't buy jerseys for the sake of buying jerseys, right? Like, no disrespect, but Boy Green, he's buying the QB of every year, just just getting all these jerseys. How many jerseys do you have, Boy Green? You got all these different people. I
have 64.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't say it was. It's just not my speed. It's not.
What an insult, though. What a hey, you know what? Hey, different strokes, different folks. But I don't just get the jerseys of the bleep boop 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 boop. Wow.
I apologize. But but we are two different. What I was trying to do was show the different sides of the spectrum. So there's the Boy Green side. 64 jerseys. Oh, were you a Jet for 5 days? Yeah. Let's buy a jersey. And me, I'm trying to I'm making a serious investment in that person, in that player. If I decide to buy a jersey. So the only two current Jets who have jerseys that are in this closet right here are Quinnen Williams and Brees. Oh, and Sauce, but it's the.
What about Garrett? No Garrett in there?
I did not buy. Hey! I'm not made of money. Come on now, chill.
What do you mean? Boy Green meets Wudi. You're on the billboard, man.
Well, I mean, if you're getting checks from this, then we gotta talk to somebody. Because here it is. I bought Sauce's that rookie season, like when they got drafted. So it's the old design. But in terms of the legacy, like when they were like, oh, we're gonna do the legacy, I was like, all right, fine, I'll get a legacy. So I got Quinnen. And then Brees was my most recent purchase. So I'm hoping that Brees is a long-term Jet. That is possible that he would be a long-term Jet. Oh, shout out my guy. Oh, my God. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My guy in the comments, Jake Asman, in the building. You already know I'm an Asmaniac. You already know I'm an
There you go. Let's hit it. That membership from Jake Asman went to King of Kings 92 # CB. And look at that from the high heavens. Wudi, rocking everywhere.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to my guy. You already know he's always doing his thing. Hey, we gotta get you back. Actually, we gotta get you back.
That's a good point. Yeah, we haven't had that guy on in a while. You have a raffle ticket, by the way, Jake. So shout out to that.
Absolutely. We keep referencing the intro and which jersey I'm wearing. Well, our guy, Jake, he's the only other voice that is featured in our intro is Jake Asman.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes. Underrated stat. But yeah, I need it. I need Brees to be the top dog. I need it. But like we've said, right, this is not the regime that picked him. This is, all that type of stuff. They would be more than happy to just, if this isn't the year, boom, dump him, work with Braylon, work with Isaiah, just draft somebody else, right? It's a position that has been so disrespected for the last decade or so. I'm hoping Saquon, helped build some respect back. I mean, the Giants look like fools for not even, giving him a long-term deal. And now look at what he did with the Eagles, and boom, now they won the Super Bowl. I'm hoping more respect gets put back into that position, because those guys, they've earned it. They deserve it. And Brees Hall, in my opinion, can be one of the absolute best of the best running backs there are in this league. And this is the season to prove it, because now you have the line, you have the mobile QB, which isn't a prerequisite, but we've seen, like Lamar Jackson running backs, rush for 1,000 yards. We have seen it. So this is the situation with this coach. They're gonna run the football. Come on, Brees. We need it. It's like that episode of SpongeBob with the water. I need it.
I did not anticipate a SpongeBob reference on today's show. I will tell you, I believe I wrote them down to make sure I didn't forget any. I believe I have 4 current Jet player jerseys. I have Quentin Williams, I have Sauce Gardner, I have Garrett Wilson. I have Garrett Wilson 17 and 5, and Justin Fields. So there you go. Those are the ones. I have 4 current jerseys. 4 current players, technically 5 jerseys. That's of the current players. Yes.
That's solid. That's good. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not like Meadowland Swap Things friend who bought a Frank Gore jersey. That's
Frank
crazy.
Gore. Okay.
That's
okay.
crazy.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've had bad jerseys, but like they're not bad like that. Like, for instance, as soon as the Jets drafted Vernon Golston, 56, I bought that immediately, or my father did. He bought it immediately for me, and I wanted. I was like, yeah, it's like the Jets version of Lawrence Taylor. I used to say, look at the 56. This is going to be great. And, well, we all know how that turned out. Or Jay Samaro. As soon as he was drafted, 88, baby, look at this badass jersey. And they ended up being bad. Like, if you bought Frank Gore, you bought Frank Gore when he was retirement home. You bought him when he was 40, joining the Jets. You're like, yeah. Like, what? Like, there's some issues there. So, no, I guess I'm not that bad. I didn't buy anyone like that. I don't mind the nostalgic, which I guess maybe Frank Gore, depending on your connection at Frank Gore, I guess. Like, LaDainian Tomlinson, I'm super proud of that one, and he was only here for 2 years. Like I have Brett Favre's and Aaron Rodgers jerseys of the Jets. They're in the closet. I don't know how proud I am of all of those, but like LT and a couple of the legendary people that were here for a hot second, I got a Plaxico Burress in there. I have one of those ones.
I don't know what done that's
I got one of those in there. Santonio Holmes, Tone Time. I got some of that in there.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, and like in all seriousness, like I truly did not mean it as disrespect. Like,
oh, come on.
No, I didn't. That's literally what I said. I literally said no disrespect. And I know, like, it came out. It came out
incredibly disrespectful. Like, we're just 2 different jersey buyers. Okay, he buys basically, whatever the humfuck he wants. But I sort of put some thought and time and invested the players and the jerseys. What do you mean? Like, I get what people say in the universe that if I say with all due respect, I can then literally say whatever I want, which is true because you just did it. But like. That I take any offense to it. You're like, whoa, come on, man. I said with all due respect. What the hell? You went with all due respect. Fuck your mother. I was like, Jesus, good Lord. Wow.
No, if I could get it back, I would take it back and say it a little better. But the point, the point was solid. Just came out a little rough.
That's okay. And by the way, Metal Lion Swamp Thing says his justification was he's a Hall of Famer, which I think is debatable at best. Frank
he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I just want to clear this up real quick. We can say what his journey was with the Jets, which is its own story and show that maybe we're probably never going to do. But whether or not he's a Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken, he's a top 5 rusher all time. So let me see on the list real quick.
I think he's number 3, like in terms of career rushing.
I remember he's 3 or 4. Yeah, he's 3. 60. Yeah. I mean, that's impressive. 16,000 on the button, and like, yeah, I'm good. That's it. Even Steven. Here's the list: Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Frank Gore, Barry Sanders. That's the list. What do you mean Frank Gore isn't a Hall of Famer? Debatable. Oh, come on. Metal Lion Swamp Thing. Hall of very good and longevity. He was never the best running back in the league. That's a Hall of Famer. Okay. We don't need to spin this into a whole nother show. But like people criticize Emmitt Smith. And I know my dad's a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to get the bias slant and all this. Oh, he just played for a long time behind a good offensive line. Well, sometimes that's all you need. I'm not saying that's all he was. But okay, we're going to chide the man. You stayed healthy a long time. Congratulations. Well, in a sport that's been as vicious and violent as it is, I think that deserves some props of being able to play through injury, which there's all kinds of stories about Emmitt Smith and playing through injuries and popping shoulders back in plates and doing crazy shit to be in there. 100%. When you're a top 3 rusher of all time, there's no Hall of very good longevity and things of that nature. I just don't see that. Again, Frank Gore the Jets, that's its own conversation. But Frank Gore, the player in NFL history, I mean, I don't know, man. He was a all-pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, played for a cajillion teams, kept it alive. I don't know. I don't think you always have to be the best at your position to just be in the league. I think sometimes when you look at the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah. It's hard for me to disagree. Obviously, him as a Jet, at 55 years old. All right, yeah, we have our thoughts on that. But his career, like what, went to the Super Bowl, was the life force for those Niners for so many years. And maybe no one put him at number one, right? We had some dogs back then, AP, Marshawn, we had some dogs, but he's top five. Like, he was consistently numerically top five. Like, that's how you get there. You don't get there by, just coasting by. You get there by being consistently top five for a long period of time. It's not like he played 55 years, like he didn't have the longest running back career. So that's what I would say on that. But you already know, you my guy, Meadowland Swamp Thing. So
yeah, and I would say this. People forget about this. Now, this is only one season, so that's what people are going to say. He had a near 1,700-yard rushing season his second year in the league, and that was and that's an insane year that he had. Nearly 1,700 rushing yards as a 23-year-old. Now, granted, he never got anywhere near that ever again. The highest he ever got was 1,200 rushing yards, which was in 2012. The rest of it, to your point, is a lot of consistency. And I think another part of it for Meadowland Swamp Thing here is that he is marred by what he saw at the end. Did Frank Gore hang on too long? You can argue that. In 5 of his final 6 seasons, he had under 1,000 yards rushing, and specifically in his final 3 seasons, which included apparently a trip around the AFC East, which I just realized, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, and the Jets. He had 700 yards, 500 yards, 600 yards. So I think sometimes we're sort of warped by prisoner of the moment, the things that we saw most recently. And I think sometimes that could be a factor. Again, we'll see what happens. When the Hall of Fame candidacy comes up for the young man, which, by the way, should be coming up soon. I think his final year was with the Jets in 2020, and it was so.
I respect the concession, and I will wholeheartedly agree with you, Swamp Thing, that I'm not rocking that jersey with pride. I know somebody with a Matt Forte.
I like Matt Forte. He's a good player.
Yeah, but come on now, I can't be rocking that with pride either.
I respect Rick Shaw. Shout out to Rick Shaw. LOL. I purchased a $3.99 Brett Favre Jets jersey from a Modell store in 2011. Hey man, I have no, you get, like, for instance, I bought, so I have an Aaron Rodgers jersey that Wudi just made fun of me for. I have another Aaron Rodgers jersey that I haven't worn yet. It's a heather gray special custom jersey, but it was dirt cheap because it looked like Aaron Rodgers not going to be on the team. So I picked up one of those. So I have that one, and I haven't ever worn that yet. So now I have no idea when I'm ever going to wear that. I'll have to wait now until time passes and it goes for, like, I'm not wearing that week 1. Like, that's not happening. So
smart.
Well, it sounds like you probably want it because you're Captain Aaron Rodgers over there.
Not at all. But definitely appreciate everybody's time. It's crazy because if you look at the 5, right, number 5 on Boy Green's list, number 5 on my list, it looks like we are on completely different pages. You keep going up the list, completely different players, but somehow, some way, the way he thinks and the way I think, using our very differing philosophies, we have found the same solution for the most under pressure. That is, to me, that's very interesting. We obviously did not come up with these, or tell each other the lists, beforehand. So I am just, receiving this information just as you guys received it, and I think that's super interesting. If that tells me anything, it means that Brees is really under pressure.
That's true.
So I need him to perform. I did the water joke again with the SpongeBob, but I really needed. I mean, he is my favorite player on the offense. Life is just better when you got a good running back. I still always give my respect to my guys, Chris Ivory, you know, all the we got to chat. We got to hear from somebody.
Before that, I just want to say real quick. Badshaw says my mom bought me a Vic jersey while he was in prison. She said she got a confused. Oh, I bet she did. Badshaw.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
I've seen. You know what's funny? I've seen the people, that have. What's the word I'm looking for? So like Modell, someone brought that up, like the $3.99. I've seen it when it's $60, and the person's walking over to go and switch the price to like dirt cheap. I've seen that happen at those stores before, like the Tebow jerseys after the Jets thing happened and then left. I've seen the people come over and just go, and then clearance racket, and that is hilarious, by the way. Meadowland Swamp Thing with a YouTube super chat, baby. Every time we get one of those, we hear from my daughter Zariah Luna, and every $2.99 purchase gets you a raffle ticket, baby.
Wow.
Meadowland Swamp Thing, a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Thank you so much, $9.99. Appreciate the banter, fellas. Have a good afternoon. Appreciate you. So we'll add this to your previous total here on the show. Real quick, Woody, as I'm adding this in, and shout out to the Meadowland Swamp Thing for financially supporting the show. You started to say something, and then I blather all the time. You were mentioning LaDainian Tomlinson. Like, what was that? Was that a jersey either you respect or something, or you were going to go down a path there?
Oh, well, that is a jersey I respect. I mean, it was a beautiful time for us. But yeah, me personally, I just love our running backs. Like my favorite jersey, of all time that I have is Curtis Martin. I just love the running backs, all the different guys that we've had come in and just play, good, tough, strong football at that position. And I feel like Chris Ivory was the last one. And I am hoping that Breece Hall's the next one.
We can only hope. By the way, Meadowland Swamp Thing, you got yourself 3 raffle tickets for our contest. Again, you guys have another 2 weeks to submit those throughout the entire month of June. We'll reveal our winner for July 1st, and Wudi knows the giveaway for July. And folks, it's going to be special. So shout out to all you guys. I will have news for our Jets Cowboys tailgate ticket participants. I wasn't really sure the word I was going to use for that. News to come. I will tell Wudi off air, and you guys will hear that information in the very near future on an update on Jets Cowboys. If you guys are going with us to see the game, it'll be myself and Wudi and Chef Kev cooking it up. And maybe we'll be cooking up some takes that may be bad for some of you that are Wudi fans, because some of those takes are highly questionable, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh my. Well, hey, I thoroughly enjoyed everything today, the good discussion with, a lot of you today. But you want to talk about good discussion. You do not want to miss Boy Green Meets Wudi this Thursday. Okay, because we have a great discussion aligned with my newest follower on Instagram as of this moment, Giovanni Williams. Okay, brother of Quincy Williams, who we talked about a bajillion times on this show. Brother of Quincy Williams, who we talk about a bajillion times all the other times on the show. Giovanni, we are going to be talking to him. It's going to be a grand old time. I'm so excited, and you don't want to miss it. Thursday at 3 for the third brother. Ooh, look at that. 3.
All those three.
Yes.
So it's going to be a great discussion. We're going to talk about his Jets tryout, obviously just had over the last couple of months. We're going to talk about his NFL journey. What's next? What did the Jets tell him on the way out that could lead to perhaps sometimes when players try out for a team, they're on the emergency list. So when an injury happens, they're the first guy they call. I'll be interested in discussing that with Giovanni, and I can't wait. It'll be amazing on Thursday. Again, for those who may not know, he is not currently on the roster. He is not on the 91-man roster, but I'm sure he has hopes of making this roster or another NFL roster, and we will explore all of that, which should be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for the questions. Rick Shaw, random question, do I watch UFC? Mr. Paul, I absolutely do, and I've been watching it with my father since the 90s, so massive UFC mixed martial arts fan. Thank you for the question. And thanks, guys, for all the questions and comments throughout the show. Before we go, 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, both on my channel and Take Flight Talk. Spread the love for Boy Green Meets Wudi. Please, please, please. That's a way to support the program. Appreciate you. Any final thoughts, Woodster?
No, great time today, and we're about to have a grand old time. The return of Third Party Thursday with the one and only third Williams brother, Giovanni. Oh my God, it's the power of three. The power of three, the Trinity.
Yes. And something else, again, Tyrese Halliburton doesn't know about. Hey-o! Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.